Oh, I just canceled it and it said connecting. I'm sorry.
Oh, there we go. Hello.
Hey,
I'm
how you
good. How are
doing?
you?
I'm good. Let me put my phone back since when you hopped on. There we go.
I love this
There we
shirt.
go. Oh yeah, got it from you a couple years back. I just wanted to start off by saying thank you everyone for being on this live. Jaquan and I, we will be talking about sickle cell. So tomorrow is a very special day. Jaquan, would you like to tell them what tomorrow is?
Sure. So tomorrow, of course, is Juneteenth, but tomorrow is also National Sickle Cell Day. That's a day where we just recognize everybody that has sickle cell, has passed from sickle cell, who are doing great things in the sickle cell community. Um, and yeah, that's just a day to honor those that are going through through this dealing with the sickle cell disease, because not many people know that it is a very painful battle that someone has to deal with.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for giving us that. So I feel like we can jump right in. Thank you all for joining. I want to introduce you formally after I introduce myself. So my name is Nina Barrett. I am the founder and the owner of Red Rose Brunch. So shout out to all of the bosses that are here on the live and family and friends. I appreciate you all. So Jaquan Phillips is the younger brother of Jasmine Phillips. Jasmine was one of my college friends. So I met her my freshman year of college. Her and one of my good friends, Mahogany, were roommates. And the way we met was very funny. I can talk about that a little later if you would like for me to. But Jasmine she was the friend that was always down to go out, always down to party. And she always hit me up like, Nina, what's the move? So I really love that about Jazz. Most importantly, when you have a group of friends who had just came to college and we're all women, of course we start getting catty with each other, but I feel like Jasmine was the one who kept us on that playing field. She kept us pretty leveled, and she wasn't with the drama. She just wanted peace from all of her friends, and I really appreciate that about her. And I miss her a lot, a lot, a lot, and I know all of our friends and family do. So Jaquan, is there anything that you wanted to say about the foundation?
Yes, so of course I'm Jaquan. As she said, I'm the younger brother of Jasmine. We do have another sister, Joy. She is the baby. I am the middle child. Um, and so I started the foundation, and I first started it in 2014 as just a class project in college. Um, and my Professor Bernard, he just said we should start, even though we're just starting off college, being business administration majors, we should always figure out what is the next step. So he gave us a project. He told us to start a business that we can see ourselves starting outside of college. And at the time my sister had just passed, I was like, well, I want to do something to honor her. At first I was going back and forth with the names. For the people that have been following since I first started the Facebook page, it was, at first I think it was called Jasmine's Eyes. I don't know why I picked that. I picked that basically because I went off the last picture that she took, and the quote, because that was even though she was in pain, she was in the hospital during that last picture, you didn't know it. You wouldn't have known it if she didn't say it and you didn't see the hospital gown.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, Jasmine, something don't sit right with that. So then I was like, the three J's, Jasmine, Joy, Jaquan. But I was like, no, because that's taken away from her, but yet it's not, it still doesn't fit right. So I then went and was like, well, she put hashtag sickle cell warrior. So I was like, why not the Jasmine Sickle Cell Warriors Foundation? And that stuck. And then from that day, I created the logo that is behind me and that is on my shirt and Nina's shirt. I created the logo, and then I made the Facebook page. Yes, all our social media is on it, on the back of it. I created the Facebook page. As soon as I created the Facebook page, it instantly started to get likes. People started to share it, and I was like, "This is just a joke," well, not really a joke. This is just a class project. But then once I seen that support and people were sharing it and people were saying this is an amazing way to honor her, and I can't wait to see what happens with this foundation. I was like, okay, so if people are taking or sharing the page just off of a class project, why not make it official? So 2 years later, 2016, I started to file the paperwork. That is a long, tedious process. Anybody that wants to know how to do that, you can inbox me or send me an email. All our contact information is in, our bio, and I can be glad to help you through it. It is very costly, but so I started the foundation, and it now 3 years later, we're still standing. This year would be our 4th year, and I think everything was kind of ordained in a way because the foundation, I think December 12th it is, makes 4 years for us, and December 12th
Wow.
is my grandmother's birthday and 2 days after Jasmine's birthday.
Right, right. I'm just posting this title so people who are just joining know what we were talking about, so I can go ahead and pin it. There we go. Okay. So yes, so thank you for telling us about the foundation. I think that leads me to my next question. What is sickle cell? I know it affects the Black community at way harsher rates than other communities. We hear about it. You don't really know a lot about it until you meet someone or come in contact with someone who's going through it. But can you tell us what sickle cell is?
So sickle cell is basically the short definition for it, because the long definition can be confusing. It basically attacks the red blood cells. That's just as plain as day. Um, and I thought I printed out a picture, but I didn't. But a normal blood cell is circular, and with the sickle cell, it kind of kind of shrivels up, and it looks kind of like a crescent moon shape. So once that happens, the normal blood cells, or that sickle cell, stops flowing, like the normal red blood cells, and once that happens, other cells can start to sickle, and then the normal blood cells with the sickle cells stop flowing through the blood, which causes swelling, which causes crisis. Sometimes people with sickle cell will have to be hospitalized. Sometimes for a day, 2 days, and sometimes for a week. Like my sister she went in for a week. She had a crisis, and then she went in for the week, and then she felt better. She had to get a blood transfusion, which is normal for people with sickle cell. They may or may not have to get a blood transfusion, so that's why giving blood is important. And we should always, if we have a friend with sickle cell, just check on them, ask them how they're doing, how they're feeling. Because like my sister, she won't tell you that she's in pain. She can sit there and having a normal conversation with you, but yet she's in pain. There's medicine for it, but you cannot catch it by sex. Can't catch it by kissing. You can't catch sickle cell by touching something that a person with sickle cell have. You have to be born with it. You can't get it any other way. And because my sister does have sickle cell disease, I may be jumping ahead, but me and my younger sister, we both have the trait. And back in '93, my mom and my dad didn't know anything about sickle cell. They didn't know that they had the trait or anything. So when two people with the trait come together, they then have a 50-50 chance of having a child with or without sickle cell, with sickle cell disease and without with sickle cell trait.
Right. I think you touched on something right there. Please excuse me, like if I start getting a little teary-eyed because I'm just thinking about Jazz. But you touched on something when you said that when your parents got together, when they were dating, and when they were doing what they do or whatnot, they didn't know, so they were not aware that they had sickle cell trait. And I think that's the thing with sickle cell. You don't see it on the outside most of the time. If you have the trait, usually, correct me if I'm wrong, but most people don't even have any symptoms related to it, even if by having the trait. So what would you suggest us as a Black community we need to do when we are having, before we have babies, you know, and we may have a trait?
So luckily, I think it was in 1995 they had passed a law that every child born from that point on automatically goes through a sickle cell screening. So
Mm.
if you are dating someone, it's not going to hurt to ask, do you have sickle cell, or do anybody in your family have sickle cell? Because that is, again, something that you may have a problem with later on in life. Because I know, I do have the trait, and in college, I mean not in college, but in high school and middle school, I was kind of athletic. Now I'm nowhere near athletic at all. But I
Mm-hmm.
was athletic in middle school and high school, and one time in high school I had very bad leg pains. My mom didn't know why. My um, doctors couldn't figure out why, and my grandmother, one day she came home, she was like, Jaquan, you know what? And my grandmother is a pastor, so she was like, I was sitting down one day just thinking about why your legs were hurting, and then God told me that, like, you have the sickle cell trait, so this could be something that is related to that. And later on found out that
Mm.
that can have an effect on it if you're not drinking a lot of water, which I wasn't. So you just have to make sure you
Yeah.
stay healthy.
Right, right. So, we have a couple comments in the group chat. A lot of moms and moms to be have said that they got tested when they were pregnant, which is good as well. So the right resources can be put into place. And like you said, just having those conversations, like, hey, do you have sickle cell trait? Do you know someone in your family with sickle cell? And that may be a hard question to ask, but I think it's a question that is needed.
Very
And I
much.
think that when it, so we need to be having these conversations more, you know, the same way, you know, we talk about breast cancer and the same way we talk about other illnesses, we need to shed light on sickle cell. And that leads me into my next question is, well, we have a question. It says, is this something you can request to be tested for, or does there have to be a reason?
I don't think so. You can go and ask your primary physician, hey, I'm just to make sure, just for your nerves, to calm your
Yeah.
nerves down. You can go and ask for a sickle cell test. Because I do know actually had a phone call from this older lady one time, like a month ago, and I put her in contact with some people that have sickle cell because she's older and she has sickle cell, but they diagnosed it because she was older. They diagnosed it as something else, and she was
Wow.
like, "It runs in my family. I know I've had it for all my life." And the doctors kept throwing it off and throwing it off as if, oh no, it's not sickle cell, it's this. So I would just
Yeah.
honestly say, if they tell you it's not sickle cell, tell them to document it in your chart and tell them the reason why you came in for a test and they're not giving it to you. So make sure everything is
Right.
documented that they tell you.
Right. Self advocacy. One of our bosses just posted about that this past week, you know, when it, sorry, when it comes to health liberation,
Most definitely.
you know, you definitely have to advocate for yourself. And like you said, ask them to document it. Um, and also take home copies of your report. I know WakeMed and they do my chart, so you can see all your test results. Everything is there, but documentation and self advocacy is definitely key. Um, do you know
Um,
what the research
I
is like
did
right now
see a
for a cure for
video,
sickle
I think
cell?
a year ago, where a man was cured with sickle cell, but I haven't heard any updates on it as far as, everybody that has sickle cell is getting access to this test. Um, I do think they were trying different things out with that man. I haven't read up on that story, but there was a story where somebody was cured. But as of right now, there's still no known 100% factual cure for sickle cell.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, those red and white blood cells, those are definitely key. I want to ask you about your experiences with Jazz. I know Jazz was your older sibling, and I'm going to talk a little bit about like college experiences with her. But can you just touch on, growing up in the house with Jasmine, having sickle cell, what your parents and grandparents, what the support was like, and, key things that you all had to watch out for? Because
Yeah.
we all know
So
Jasmine was not the type to say,
I would
I don't feel
say,
good.
that is, I give it up 100% to my mom. She never made it seem like any of us was different. She treated all of us the same. She beat all of us the same, no matter what one or the other did. If Jasmine did something, she got it. If I did something, which I most of the time it was always me, I would get it. Joy, she was like the baby. Joy can do no wrong. But yeah, so my mom and my dad didn't treat us any different, which I commend them for, because your child is not different. You just so happen to, Jasmine was just so happened to have sickle cell. Sickle cell didn't have her, and that's something that I take, and that was the foundation's motto for
That's right.
the first 2 years, and now is strengthen, empower, invest in our youth. And growing up, whatever Jasmine wanted to do, she did it. She gave her all into it, and I also talk about this in the book, which will be here tomorrow. So books will be shipped out tomorrow. Yes, books will be shipped out tomorrow.
Yes, I got my
I
notes
talk
in
about
mine.
that in the book. My mom didn't make any of us feel different. The only thing she would do that she still does till this day, she would walk around the house and just spray Lysol. You have to keep a clean environment. You have to make sure everything you cook, everything you eat is sanitized properly. Everything is stored properly. Everything is cooked right. You have to be very careful because you don't want anything to mess with the medicine that she's taking, or
Yeah.
this may cause this. So you just have to be very careful with that. And Jasmine was very active growing up. She did. She was a praise dancer in church. We all sung in the choir at church. There was a penny counting contest, and I don't even remember this, but she won a trophy for having the most pennies. Um, she went to Camp Hope.
Oh, wow.
Whatever Jasmine wanted to do, she did, and my mother was always a supporter of that and pushed her.
She did
Yeah, she did the debutante.
did she do the
Yeah,
debutante?
whatever she put her mind to, she did it,
Yeah, she
and
did the
she
debutante ball, right?
finished strong in everything that she did.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I really admired that about Jazz. Like she had the strength of a lion. Really, like literally the strength of a lion. And I think, you know, at the time, I believe we were coming off of sophomore year of college. And I'm just gonna share a little bit about, you know, the experiences leading up to Jazz's last days and when she went to be with the Lord. But I remember Jazz being in the hospital. I remember Mahogany calling and telling us like she was definitely the communicator, the one who was keeping us all in the loop. And I remember this is one thing about Jazz. She's so strong that and I sometimes regret this, but you can't live life with regrets. But I kind of regret not going up there to see her when she was in the hospital. I really thought like, oh, Jazz gonna get through this. Like it's nothing, like cause she was just that much of a lion to me, a brave heart, and she just always kept a positive spirit about herself. Even when I had text her when she was in the hospital, she was like, oh yeah, I'm good. God got me. Like I'm fine. Like y'all don't have to worry about me. And a couple of days later, of course, we get the news, and it's just like, damn, you know what I mean? Like, even the strongest ones in the pack still, have their moments where they are weak. So, I just wanted to kind of just like share that story that at such a young age and being in college and losing a friend, it's just like, what just happened? That's literally how our universe was. Like, what just happened? Like, did this really take place? And yeah, that's just one of my stories, one of my experiences with Jazz. I did want you to talk about the book, ways that people who are on live can give and support the foundation, and
Um,
any upcoming
I will
events
definitely talk
that
about
you all
that.
are
And
having.
before I go into that, I want to just also that same. Well, I'm gonna talk about the book, but the same week that Jasmine was going through all of that, all of her sickle cell crisis, in and out of the hospital, that same week. it was three different things going on. One, Jasmine was in the hospital. Two, my high school graduation, and three, my grandmother's pastoral banquet. So yeah, like you said, that week was the last 2 weeks of her life was very, very, very hectic. And I'm gonna try to keep it together on this part because I'm like you. I was in school practicing for graduation when I got the news that she had passed, and it was definitely hard. Because at the time Jasmine was on a step team, and three of her stepsisters, I guess they seen it on Instagram or Facebook. I don't think Instagram was really that popping back then, but they seen the news on Facebook, I think, and they run out, they go in the bathroom, they come back. I'm giving them high fives like, y'all, we graduated, we're gonna be all right, and not knowing that my sister had just passed away. And so that same week before, I didn't go to Tarboro this year. That I do regret. That I still deal with. My sister was there, my mom was there, aunts were there, every family member, they was there, but I wasn't there. That is something that I do talk about in the book. Wow. That's 5 years later. I'm still dealing with that. But I'm making it. I'm using this foundation as a way to push her story out there even more. Because just like you, I'm like, my sister gonna get through this. She got through it before. Her junior year in high school, she got through it. She missed half of the year, but she still got through it. And then even with her pose, she's a warrior. She got this. But there are some other stories that are in the book. One of them is not, but my grandmother, she was in the hospital with my sister. My grandmother, my mom, and at the time my sister's boyfriend, they all took turns staying with her throughout the night. But that last week, everybody went to Greenville. Nobody left her side. My god sister did bring me home to Rocky Mountain, and she stayed, but she was like, she just couldn't take it. She had to go back to Greenville. So she left, and everybody's in Greenville. Literally everybody was there, from my great aunts to cousins everybody was there, because it was, and if anybody knows my family, that they will pray in the drop of a heartbeat. They will pray all night. My grandmother stands on that. She's not leaving until, God does something. Whatever he does, he needs to do something before she leaves. And that is something that I take with me every day. And I'm very thankful for my church upbringing, because that same week of Jasmine being in the hospital, I was in church every night. Every night I was in church, go to school, go to church. And then my grandmother, same thing. She's in church. Then after she leaves church, she goes home, packs her clothes, then she goes to the hospital and sit with my sister. And I'm gonna give one story from out of the book. It's one story that my grandmother one night overheard Jasmine. She was doing a lot of moaning, and if you know anything about my Jasmine and my grandmother's relationship, my Jasmine will always tell her she need to go get her ears checked. That is something that still to this day we tell my grandma, go get your ears checked. She'll be like, I don't need my ears checked. But one night, my grandmother was asleep, and she heard Jasmine moving, so she woke up, asked her what's wrong, but I don't think Jasmine heard her. So she overheard Jasmine praying, and this is in the book. I believe it's chapter 9. It's in the book. She overheard Jasmine praying. She was asking God just to forgive her for all her sins. She knows she did wrong in her life, but she was asking God to forgive her for all of her sins, take this pain away from her. So after she passed, once I heard that story, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna worry about it no more, because no matter what Jasmine did, she always knew where to go for comfort. And that's something that my grandmother taught us in church growing up. No matter how bad it gets, no matter how far you stray from the church, you're always going to find your way back, no matter what. So yeah, that story is in the book. You can get the book at thewarriorstories.com. It's in our bio. You can go to JaquanRPhillips.com, and that will also take you there.
Okay.
You can go to the Jasmine Sickle Cell Warriors, the JSCW Foundation.com, and you can also get the book there as well. Yeah, that's just about Jasmine in the book.
Mm, that's good. That's really good. Thank you, Jaquan, for sharing that. I just, man, I applaud you for being able to be up here and be able to talk about your sister, and to really share her experiences. And I know for a fact, that Jazz is super proud of you, because you are making sure that we still say her name, that we still honor her, and that her legacy will always live, and it will live forever. And I really appreciate the fact that you are bringing so much awareness to sickle cell, because you are reaching people, Jaquan. Like, you are really reaching people. And I just want to say I salute you. And if you support everything that Jaquan is doing, can you just drop some red hearts? I know they don't have this color, like a burgundy, but if you can just drop some red hearts, that's just showing that you love what's happening, you love the foundation, and you stand in support. If you could just drop some red hearts. Thank you, guys. I want to know, what led you to write a
So
book
what led me to write a book
about your
was
sister's life?
because I'm like, okay, I need money to support the foundation. So I'm like, okay, what can I do? How can I still get her story out there? So,
Mm-hmm.
and to go back to church, um, the scripture that kept repeating in my head is write the vision and make it plain. So I'm like, okay, so let me just start writing. So I started with Jasmine's eyes, and I was like, no,
Mm-hmm.
that's not fitting. So one day, I don't know where this came from. I just typed in warrior stories, the life of Jasmine, a sickle cell warrior, um, highlighting the things that Jasmine has taught me throughout her life as well as in her passing. Um, because a lot of times, many people don't see we see the good
Yeah.
in when things are good, but we don't see the good in the bad. And that's something that also my grandmother taught me. In everything, there's always a way that God is trying to
Yeah.
get something out of you. He's trying to pull something out of you. So I wrote the book. I started writing it 3 years ago. So
Yeah.
around the time I started the foundation, I'm trying to write a book. And for the past couple of years, I've been my foundation's bank account, and um, I am now in my own apartment. And because of the demands of the foundation, I was like, okay, I got to get this book out. People got to hear this story. Um, so I put it in a book, hoping that people will
Yeah.
find some nuggets that they can pull out of the book to share, to talk about, to start conversation. Because a lot of even my coworkers, they don't even know what
Mm-hmm.
sickle cell is, and um, they were all like, "Yeah, I know what it is, but I don't really know what sickle cell is."
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there's kind of levels to sickle cell, so I talk about that in the book.
Right.
And I also go into what the symptoms really look like in sickle cell, which there's really no like known symptoms other than the yellowing of eyes. But that's really kind of the only like symptom you can look at. But you can't go around looking at everybody, but like, let me see your eyes to see if
Mm-hmm.
you got sickle cell. So I do break that down in the book, and yeah, that's all.
Well, yeah.
I just wanted to get her story out so more people can hear it. Um, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. That's deep. I remember, and I want to touch on this. There are a couple of bosses on my team who I consider them our health experts. And I know a lot of times we talk about not having the proper advocacy or being looked over, especially when you're Black and you're trying to get treated for care. Um, I remember your Aunt Deborah telling us that, you know, Jasmine was kind of taking off her meds right before her crisis had happened, or a couple months or something before her crisis had happened, and that, you know, sometimes rural hospitals just don't have the best treatment, the best resources, the best care. They can't provide the best
Yes.
care.
So,
You know, can you talk about that a little bit?
I think they did at some time change her medicine because they were always, you know, trying to either boost it or decrease it depending on her pain. Because, yeah, she really, after her crisis in
Okay.
her junior year of high school, she hasn't had one since. So, I guess they were taking her, knocking the dosage down on her medicine. Um, but yes, a lot of people, and if you know my aunt is the type of woman who,
Okay.
once she walk in a room, you're okay. What do you want? What do you need? Because she's not gonna leave until she gets the answers that she needs. She wants everything documented, which is a good thing. We all need that person who's gonna stand 10 toes down for us when we can't stand 10 toes down for ourselves. So my aunt was always that. It still to this day is the woman you pick
Yeah,
up the phone and call them like, hey, this is not right.
that's right.
I need X, Y, and Z done, and they are, and she's all right. I'm gonna call X, Y, and Z, and I'm gonna make sure it happens. So yeah, we all need that person in our corner who no matter what will stand on
Yeah.
what they say, and they will make sure our voices is heard. Our voices is being heard.
Yeah. Yeah, that's deep. You definitely, that is key right there. You know, even when you can't advocate for yourself, that's another tip that one of our bosses drop is to bring somebody with you, or have a family or friend that can be there with you, that can advocate on your behalf. You know, that can write down and take notes and ask for the doctors and physicians to advocate for you. Um, but I wanted to, before we wrap up, I wanted you to share how people can support. So I know the book is on sale, but what other ways can the people who are on the live
So
today can
you
support the
can
Jasmine Sickle
support in
Cell
many
Warriors
different ways. You can
Foundation?
support from Cash App at Warrior Stories. You can go through our secure website at thejscwfoundation.com. And we do also have a PayPal link that you can go to. Everything is 100% secure. You can do everything from your phone, Cash App, through our website and PayPal.
Okay. Hmm. Okay. Good. Good. Thank you. And
Um,
what events do you have?
Yes.
Upcoming
So while
events?
we were sitting here,
Anything
I
that the
just
people should be
got
on the lookout
an
for?
email that our blood drive for July 23rd has been approved. It's going to be in Rocky Mount. Location is still being decided on. Um,
Nice.
we also have a movie night tomorrow in Raleigh. The flyer is on our Instagram. It is a drive-in movie, so everybody can stay in your cars. The movie will be playing outside. The location is up here in Raleigh. Depending on how this one do, we will do one. Depending on how well this one goes. There will be popcorn, cotton candy, ices. We will also have cupcakes from Small Cakes, and we will also have donuts, and
Okay.
everything is $1. Even if you don't want anything, you just want to come and watch the movie, you can feel free to come and watch the movie in your car. You don't have to get out. Again, I'll call them my Raleigh team, my friends. Some of them are up here now. I got everybody will have on. Everybody's volunteering. We'll have a shirt. And if you would still like to volunteer and help out, by all means you can. You can just send me an email. At all of our information is in our bio. You can send an email or text and let me know that you just want support. You want to volunteer, and we will be happy to have you come on board. We also have our sickle cell walk is September 19th.
Yeah.
The date is still the location is still pending on that event. But this year for our sickle cell walk, I am planning on giving away a scholarship to someone in the sickle cell community that has sickle cell. I don't know who yet. I'm still talking to different people to figure out, where can I give this money to. So if you would like to support the scholarship fund, On the website, there is a Race to 1K.
Yeah.
You can give strictly through there. We have we're trying to raise $1,000. We're trying to give away two $500 scholarships. If we get more money in, we can give away more scholarships. But that is something that I've been planning to do for years.
Nice. That is gonna be amazing.
Thank
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I am so proud of you, Jaquan. You know, I'm gonna close out here with the upcoming event. So drive-in movie night tomorrow honoring Jazz for World Sickle Cell Day, Sickle Cell Walk
you.
in September, and Race to 1K. So, I challenge everyone who's on this call to
Yes,
go
we
ahead
are.
and
We
donate.
are a
This is,
501c3
are you
organization.
considered a nonprofit? Okay, okay. So yeah, so everyone can write it off on their taxes. So please donate to the Jasmine Sickle Cell Warriors Foundation. It's a great cause. It's honoring my good friend Jasmine, Jaquan's big sister, and we're gonna keep her legacy alive. We are definitely gonna keep her legacy
No,
alive.
books are
Is
on
there any
sale. You
last
can get your
remarks
books
that you want
at
to say, Jaquan?
thewarriorstories.com. The link is in the bio. You can follow me on Instagram at Quan's World. You can also follow my photography at Quan's Photos. And I hopefully will see some of you all Friday, tomorrow night at 8 o'clock.
Yes, and then tomorrow, with it being Juneteenth, it's the perfect time to support a Black business and to support a Black author. So I would challenge everyone to give, donate to the foundation. It's going towards a great cause, and to get a book. Learn more about Jasmine. Learn more about my good friend, Jaquan's big sister, Jasmine. I want to say thank you, Jaquan, for letting us come into your world, for sharing your experiences.